Eating healthfully over the holidays can be a challenge. And really, enjoying your holiday indulgences guilt free can be just as much of a challenge. And what I want to bring to you today are some solutions and just some outlines of some strategies that you can bring together to just help you do that, help to protect your health through the holiday season and really reconnect with the joy of holiday indulgences. And so you don't miss all of those foods that you love. All right, let's get to it. So we always start with strategy building. We start with some assessments. So really getting to know kind of where you're at, what you're planning on, what your purpose is. And so that's the first thing is what it brings you to this. So why is this important for you? Why is it important for you to be healthy through the holidays and mitigate weight loss? What's your vision? What's your primary directive here? Is it to prevent weight gain? Is it to enhance joy and reduce holiday guilt? Are you protecting some health issues that you have? What is it? So that's for you to define. And what that does is that centers your strategy. It orients your strategy, and so you can align your all of your decision making to this purpose for this endeavor. All right. And so then we go to the practicalities of this assessment of the strategy building for indulging during the holiday. And so I like to put together what I call a can't miss list. So this is being intentional with your indulgence. And so this is breaking down, these can't miss lists are a list of foods that are attached to the events that you're going to be going to, the holidays, the gatherings. It might even be just a regular social event. Does somebody always cook hot dogs and uh, have have beverages that you like to have when you're with other people? Is there a special recipe during a holiday gathering, a family holiday gathering that your mom or your grandma or even your grandfather maybe put together and had available to everybody? Those things that are meaningful in those times. And so, what are those foods? And I like to break it down according to the event. So you've got those holiday gatherings, whether they're family, friends, uh, business gatherings, things like that. You've got birthdays, those types of social events, and then just general social gatherings, like we were talking about before. And we want to think of it as these are the traditional foods, like I said. So think the traditional foods that are associated with the time, associated with a place, and maybe have some emotional attachment to them. So yeah, there's some good memories involved, and you have some sort of emotional attachment. And so these are your can't miss lists. So make sure that you have that ready for yourself. Either have it mentally or you can even bring it along to the event if you really want to. And if somebody doesn't make those things for you, bring them along. All right. And then we're always focusing our strategies on acceptance and the realities that we live within, and of the realities that we live within and our circumstances. And so we want to make sure that we're also creating a list for foods that we need to abstain from, or we know that that you feel better when you abstain from these foods. So these are foods that you need to avoid either due to an allergy, either a strong allergy or even a minor allergy, or just a digestive intolerance. These are foods that you generally enjoy or are accustomed to eating, but you know that if you eat it, you might not feel great. We all have those foods where we're like, oh, that is so good, but I'm going to pay for that later. So this is you being intentional with that choice and maybe making a choice in choosing comfort this year instead of willingly going into a state of discomfort. And if you have these things and you really want those flavors, you can plan some alternatives, or just to those foods, whether they're more whole food based, they're an alternative. Say you're needing to be more gluten free, you have a gluten intolerance or an allergy that you've discovered, and make a gluten free option. So there's a lot of options out there. And if you need help with that, you can certainly reach out. We can direct you towards some resources that are really good for that if we don't have a specific recipe for what you're looking for. So reach out. We're here for you at all times. Um, Either that or just plan a strategy for abstaining. So just what are you going to do to if that's there, and how are you going to handle that for yourself? What are you going to say to other people? And we'll address that here on this part too, this part of acceptance, that planning for pushback, because I always stress to understand that when you're making a change in your behaviors, in your eating habits, especially in a social setting, because people get used to you filling your plate in a certain way, or acting in a certain way, or sharing indulgences with them, and you might get a little pushback. They might not be ready for that, and just understand that a change for you is a change for them. You can maybe plan a simple and compassionate comeback. Be like, I know, I used to eat that, but it's just I don't enjoy it now, and it's nothing against that. I always loved sharing that with you, and I'm sorry that I can't. Uh, but it's better for me to abstain. And you don't have to get into a big long discussion about it or a big long explanation, but just have something planned that's compassionate, and just think about maybe the pushback. Consider the pushback that you might get, and not expect everybody to just accept, because we can get in trouble that way. We would like that. We would really appreciate that if they just said, "Oh, okay, well that's fine." But not everybody will do that for us, especially right at the beginning. And it's okay to understand that. And if we understand that, we go into these circumstances and situations knowing that that might happen, then we're at least prepared, and we can handle it in a healthy way. So you're making the choice to handle that in a healthy way. All right. So then we're on to the action. So these are the action steps that you'll take throughout the holiday season and at these gatherings. And so, like we talked about, aligning your actions toward that vision that you had, that purpose that you set. And so, honoring traditions is one of those aligned actions. So, like we talked about, we're thinking about the traditional foods, what's on that can't miss list. And not only making sure that you get those foods, but making sure that you're eating those foods at the traditional timing. Because those foods and those flavors can tend to be available all season long. A lot of those traditional Thanksgiving foods, Christmas foods, Hanukkah foods, whatever your holiday celebration is, those foods can tend to be around in a commercial setting at the stores and at the restaurants. And so I always like to say that it's a practice of honoring the tradition if you're not indulging in so many of those flavors beforehand. And that'll do a couple things. One, like I said, it'll honor that tradition, and two, you are be waiting for that. You'll have smelled it, you'll have seen it, and all throughout the season, and you'll be waiting. You'll be waiting for that indulgence. You'll be waiting for that flavor, and it will be so good when you get to that point. And it'll be so meaningful because you've waited for that time when it is traditionally eaten, and you're sharing it with the people that you traditionally share it with, and it'll be even more special. So honor those traditions. This is a fun one that can be have a lot of application and can be really impactful. It's the one plate rule. So you get all those can't miss list items, especially at a dinner gathering. There's usually some sort of like dinner buffet or lunch or brunch or whenever you eat your food. you eat your meal. But there's usually some sort of buffet setting, and so get all those can't miss foods on that plate, on that one plate, and limit yourself to that one plate. But really fill that plate up, fill it to the edges. Don't fill it too high, or you're going a counter to what you're trying to do there. Then you'll be overindulging again, right? But fill that plate up, get all those foods on there, all those flavors that you want. And it'll do a couple things again. So if you're filling that plate up with all the flavors, then you'll have smaller portions of each one, and then you'll be satisfied with that plate. You get all the flavors, and you won't be going back and filling another whole plate. And so it's just a simple way to mitigate that. So you'll do that at your meals, and you can do that once per day with maybe a snack plate as well. So the smaller snack plate, not the big dinner plate full of snacks, right? And so we're being thoughtful, we're being intentional, and we're adhering to that one plate rule. It's always a good idea to bring the freshness. So if there's not usually a lot of fresh vegetables or fruits or fresh items there that are a little more health oriented, then bring those along. That'll give you something to snack on if for some reason that those one plates weren't enough, right? Everybody else is snacking, and you just feel like you need something to munch on because it's something that you're used to doing. Then at least those fresh items are available. And that would be the only thing that you can maybe go beyond that one plate rule. So the one plate rule for the indulgent foods, and then if you bring something fresh, you can snack on that throughout the day. So give yourself that. And this is really important. This last one is probably the most important part. Have a plan to get back to your normal healthy eating patterns right after that event or that gathering or that time that you're with family. That's going to be really important. That's what's going to protect your health and prevent weight gain, overall weight gain throughout the holidays, right? So you get back to your normal healthy eating patterns that if they're whole food based and they're moderate calorie and all of those things that are healthful eating patterns. And I know if you're not quite dialed into your healthful eating patterns, then you just get back to what's working for you now, right? It's and again, limit those indulgences outside of the celebration food. And so that's really the plan there. And again, that's there to protect your health through the holiday season and prevent that overall weight gain. I say overall weight gain because you can plan on gaining some weight probably after that event. It'll hang on for a couple days, but as I have experienced throughout my years of health journeying, if I get back to my normal healthy eating patterns, that weight is gone by probably the end of the week or about a week later. It takes a little time for your body to process and for it to all come through. So I hope that's helped. I hope that gives you some insights about the strategy that you can put together to protect your health, prevent weight over much weight gain, so prevent overall weight gain through the holiday season, and just get back to enjoying your indulgences when they are meaningful to you. All right. That's it for this one. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Feel free to message us as well. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Find us there. Reach out. Let us know how we can help. We are here for you. All right. Many blessings. Happy holidays. And we'll talk again soon.